YouTube? This Skip coming to you live, straight out of Real Hard Stickers Aquatic Kennels. And some of you may notice that I have a little bit of excitement in my voice. And that's because my baby girl, Miss Pikachu, and none other than the great Kazoo have finally successfully bred. And I have wigglers. Let's see if I can zoom in, get a close-up on them. They're in this little gravel bed. I don't know if you guys can see them, but it's hundreds of them. And I'm very proud of this accomplishment because I have been trying to breed these two for a while now. In fact, I tried to breed these two on 2 other occasions and it was unsuccessful. Kazoo, he just loves to fight. He's very aggressive, highly aggressive, and very confrontational. And Miss Pikachu is just stubborn. As you can see from her dorsal fin, she has been in some wars and a back tail. Her breeding bars are on, so you can't really tell, but she has some scales missing on the side of her body. And that's from battling with this guy. And I'm so happy that they have finally successfully bred. This is a wild caught Trimac. This is the great Kazoo. Thank you, Jesus. Jesus had shipped this fish to me a while ago. You probably, if you guys follow me on YouTube, you probably seen the video when I first received Kazoo. He is 1 or 2 of my wild caught Trimacs. Look at the proud papa. And you may notice that I've divided the tank because I mentioned to you before, I tried on 2 other occasions. The first time I tried, Kazoo just wanted to fight. Miss Pikachu was laying eggs and he was eating the eggs as she was laying them. The second time, she successfully laid the eggs, but he didn't fertilize them. And on each occasion they got into a fight to where it got so bad he chewed up her top dorsal fin, and then she got a bacterial infection, and so then I had to treat her with some golden seal echinacea, you know, my home remedies. And of course it's healing up nicely, it's coming around, her dorsal fin that is. So they've been sparring for a while, but they finally done it, ladies and gentlemen. So for you guys who've been waiting for some Pyro Trimacs, I do have a waiting list. I know it's currently like, I have 60 some people now that are waiting. From what I see right here, you will not have to wait much longer. And I mentioned to you that Kazoo was 1 of 2. Here's my second wild caught Trimac. Big Rodan. He's highly aggressive. I don't want to get too close to the tank. I'm trying to get him to turn around so you can see his profile. He's, of course, waiting for food. Very greedy fish, that is. And Rodan was collected a couple years ago by the same guy, Jesus. He shipped him to me. And the area that he was collected in actually is now, I believe, farmland. I believe there are farmers now where he used to swim, his natural habitat. So in essence, his natural habitat no longer exists. So he is the last of the Mohicans. Now he's a yellow race Trimac, or some people may call gold Trimac. He's a golden colored Trimac. This particular Trimac will always stay gold. He would never turn from gold to green or yellow. He'll stay yellow his entire life. Now he can switch from different shades of yellow, from a light color to a dark color. He's like at a dark color yellow right now. And that brings me to my next point. I had a lot of people asking me questions on how do you tell the difference between the regular green Trimacs, which is the obvious, they're green, and the yellow ones are yellow or gold. But I can understand some people's confusion. And how can you tell the difference between the Pyro Trimacs? Well, let me attempt to answer that question for you. The Pyro Trimacs is a combination of both yellow and green Trimacs, and they can turn from yellow to green, two different colors, more from one color to another in an instant. And I have done demonstrations on that before, and I'll do a demonstration on that in another video coming up in the near future. But right now, just to get the basics down, the green Trimacs are collected in one location, and Trimacs come from, you know, different areas, El Salvador, even Mexico, Nicaragua, but they stay in lagoons and lakes. And depending on the environment, that is what causes them to change in different variations. The environment that these fish stay in would dictate their genetic mutation, if you will, or the changing of their DNA. And for my Pyro Trimacs, which is a tank raised and tank bred species, or captive bred species, they have a lot of genetic traits that was dropped off because they no longer had to deal with the harsh conditions of their natural environment in the wild. And so therefore there were some traits that was not needed, and there were some traits that I bred specifically for my pyros to have that was needed for me and for in order to my fish to be a more marketable fish. And that's the key, people. If you want to be a successful breeder, you have to breed because you love it. You have to breed because you want to improve upon your bloodline, and you have to breed to make a statement. Also, you have to keep record of your breeding activity. I have a book here which I have already logged in and entered September 4th, 2013, the date that these wigglers have hatched, and the parents, Miss Pikachu and the Great Kazoo. And also in this log book I have Rodan, who bred on a number of occasions with Miss Pikachu and Cherokee, Bojack, and many others. So I keep a pedigree. I'm one of the first to do that. And believe you, believe you me, I was criticized heavily when I first started my breeding program and initially told other people about it and explained it on the internet, YouTube, what have you. People was like, there's no, who has a pedigree? Pedigrees are for dogs. Who has aquatic kennels? Kennels are for dogs. I was criticized for that some years ago, many years ago. And now, as a lot of you may know, how many aquatic kennels out there now on YouTube? How many people keep DNA records and pedigrees of their fish now? You actually keep a video pedigree of your fish every time you do a YouTube video and you show your fish and their offsprings and their breeding and the success rate. That's a video pedigree. But you know, when you're a pioneer and when you do things for the first time, there's something that no one else has done or understand, you're always going to get a lot of criticism because people just don't understand, or they're just mad, or you have some haters who just hate because they wasn't the first to think of it. And I'm telling you, DNA breeding or line breeding is very important. I'm going to try to make this video short. You have to have some type of plan. You have to have a game plan on what you want to do and how you want to do it with your particular breed of fish. let me show you guys a couple of Miss Pikachu's offspring. Right here, you have Miss Pikachu's daughter. My other baby girl, she looked just like her mother. Spit image of her mother when she was this age and this size. She's approximately 5.5, almost 6 inches. And I mean, she is a specimen. I don't know if the camera is really catching all the trailers and the color in her, but she's an awesome specimen. You can tell that she comes from that King Max bloodline. Over here to my left is King Bugatti. He's another awesome specimen, and he's also an offspring of Miss Pikachu. And I have his sister on the other side. I'll show you guys her later in another video, upcoming video. Miss Veyron. Some of you guys may know and some of you guys may not know, I do like muscle cars, I do love cars, and I like exotic cars, so I named them after one of my favorites. That's the Bugatti Veyron. So this is Big King Bugatti, and his sister is Miss Veyron. And this is Miss Pikachu's other daughter. I haven't named her yet, but trust me, I have a nice name in mind, an awesome name in mind. You know, I come up with some good names. Okay, let me get back. So, ladies and gentlemen, YouTube family, allow me to show you some old photos. I have some old Polaroid photos of my pyros back in the 90s when I first started breeding my Pyro Trimac line. This is an old photo. This is actually the father of Big King Max. Well, actually, yeah, the father. I have another photo, an old photo. King Max father. This is an old photo of his mother. His mother was a Trimax, off a Trimax that was, I mean, wow, beautiful green race Trimax from Nicaragua, if I'm not mistaken, that was in this book. And I actually contacted the guy and asked him if he had any, because I was looking for Trimax for a long time back then. And I can't remember the title of the book. I cut out the page because I just always loved this fish. And here's a picture. And this is King Max great granddad. And as you can see, this is a male. And he has the black line in his dorsal fin. It's a vertical line, it's a black splat in his dorsal fin. And when I first raised King Max up back in the day, everyone was telling me King Max was a female, and I was telling them it was a male. That was just a hereditary trait that was passed down through generations from his grandparents. And now today you can see other fish that have that same hereditary trait, such as Patman, you know, Dogman's Pyro Trimac, Baraka, even King Bugatti has the same genetic traits. Now 50% of my male pyros will have that genetic trait. And any other fish, if I breed other fish like Cherokee or Miss Pikachu, their offsprings, like some of these will come out with that same hereditary trait. Can't really see them. And some of you guys may be asking, Skip, what is hereditary traits? That's how we get what we get from our parents. It's basically a somatic cell. And a somatic cell is a non-sex cell. It's the makeup of your genotype. And it's passed down through generations. It's a DNA trait that pretty much is responsible for the shape of your fish and the color formation of your fish, and sometimes what we call, what us humans call, birthmarks of your fish. The helix offer this particular trait, and you'll learn about that once you start learning and studying about DNA. And I was so excited when King Max came up with that hereditary trait, because I knew once I started breeding and once people started buying my product, my pyros, and I started selling them all over the country, there were going to be some people who were going to say, oh, the naysayers, the people who want to compete with me as far as saying their Trimacs are better than mine, was going to want to integrate my Trimacs in their bloodline just so they could say they got a good looking fish. And I know my fish. I know what pyros look like. I've seen a lot of them on YouTube. I see a lot of distributors and a lot of breeders are selling fish that have my pyro bloodline in it. And one of the things I did as a breeder, and all breeders do this, I don't care if you breed dogs, horses, whatever you breed, all breeders have that trademark signature trait that they breed into their fish. A long time ago, I knew this guy who bred pit bulls, and he had this female pit bull named Ladybug, and she had this diamond on her back. The back of her neck, it looked like the shape of a diamond. And when he bred her, a couple of the puppies in the litter had that same diamond trait. That's what we call hereditary trait. And so a lot of you guys out here are claiming to have this regular Trimax. Really, you have Pyro Trimax, because I did the exact same thing with mine. So now, if you want to know if you really have a pyro or not, if you guys have males that have that black line in the dorsal fin, 9 times out of 10 that's a pyro. Because in order for your fish to have the exact same genetic hereditary trait, it must be off that same lineage, that same family tree, that same bloodline. Yes, other Trimacs can have hereditary traits as well, but none of them would ever be the exact same markings in the exact same location on a fish. Like if you look at Pac-Man and you look at Baraka and you look at King Bugatti, they have the same exact black mark in the same exact space on their dorsal fin. Now if you get another Trimax who have this a hereditary trait on their dorsal fin, it'll be a little different. You might have a circle, or it might be rounded, or it might be located closer to the front or closer to the back, but it would never be in the same exact location. That's a 3-to-1 odds. Any respectable scientist or breeder or biologist or ichthyologist will tell you that. So that's one of the ways you can tell whether or not you have a pyro or not. Another way you can tell whether or not you have a pyro or not is, like I said before, Pyro Trimacs can change from green to gold in an instant. Regular green Trimacs do not turn yellow or gold. They can turn a lighter color green, but they will never turn yellow. And regular yellow race Trimacs will never turn green. Not in an instant. But Pyro Trimacs, that is a trait that's unique to them, because I have been breeding them for over a decade now, and I have bred that hereditary trait in them. So a Pyro Trimax, if you put the mirror up to the tank, that's one of the ways you can test them. And it may, or you come in when they just waking up, they may be a greenish color. Then you put the mirror up to the tank, they turn gold in an instant. Trust me, I had a lot of people. I'm from DC, Dave. Other people come over here. I believe Lonnie, he came over here and I gave him a demonstration. And I'm gonna give you guys a demonstration on film. But that's one way you can tell. Another way you can tell is Trimacs never have, regular Trimacs never have the red come all the way up from their chest and gill plate to the top or the small of their back or near their dorsal fin. You see how this one is? It's not past what they call the flower, I call it third eye. That red will never come past that. But Pyros will, because I bred them for color. Regular Trimacs will never have red in their lips. You see here, his red come to his gill plate, but it never come to the lips. But Pyros will. I had a female Pyro back in the day we called lipstick because her lips was red. Her brother, King Khufu, had red lips too. So enough of this. Just want to give you guys a little history lesson. Skip, I'm out.